Welcome to the Portage High School Varsity versus Poynette Varsity curling match on this fine, cold November afternoon. I'm Steve Duberstein. I'll be the announcer for the game. And we're near to the last stones of the first end. Portage is yellow rocks, Poynette red rocks. And it's been an interesting end, number of tap backs, and Portage looks to be sitting 2 right now. And this is a skip for Poynette, Matthew Illinois, with his first shot. Trying to see if he can bend around and get at these yellow ones. And it looks indeed that is what he did. That was a good shot. Managed to get rid of one. Portage is very well buried with the second one there. Kind of set up for a steal. And this is a skip for Portage, Ethan McCumber. Looking to try to plug things up and try to see if he can secure a steal on this end. That works pretty good. So right now, Poynette's looking at seeing if they can run that red rock that he's got his boom on right now at an angle and knock the yellow one out. He really can't do any damage here. Portage is pretty well locked in for one, but if he hits this just right and knocks it out, he's set up for a big end. A little bit of an exciting shot. Okay, Matthew Illinois. He's going to have to throw some weight on this one. With that broom where it's positioned, it looks like he's throwing a pretty heavyweight shot, at least what we call a normal takeout. And And it looks like he hit it. He hit it right head on. A little bit narrow on that, and so that'll be a score of 1 for Portage. So our lineups for today, playing lead for Portage is Jack Hibner. Playing second is Caleb Sherminsky. At vice is Adam Hine, and skip is Ethan McCumber, and coached by Mike Charles. For Poynette, at lead Jacob Trudell, and second Dylan Trudell. At vice Brody Weichman, and at skip Matthew Lanoy. And Poynette is Poynette is coached by Jeff Schlesman. So we are in the second end now. Portage put their first rock in the house. It's a rather conservative play. And Poynette looking to put up a guard off to the side, a corner guard, something they can draw behind later. And try to set up at least 2. Want to score 2 when you have the last rock advantage, the hammer. And it was a little heavy, went through. And one of the advantages of this shot, putting the first one in the house for Portage, is if it's ignored, like it was by Poynette, they were going to put up a corner guard. They've already got their rock in the center of the house, and they can look to guard it up with a free guard. A free guard is a guard that can't be removed with any of the first 5 rocks in play, meaning it can't be removed from play. It can be moved around, but it can't be removed from play. That's guard, good position. A little bit high, meaning you can curl around that and get at that back stone with the curl that currently have in Portage. Been getting more than 4 feet of curl in the last few weeks. And a little heavy again on that first rock for Poynette. Portage looking to Ethan McCumber looking to draw in another guard, protect that rock in the back. Still a little heavy and a bit wide. That back rock is exposed now. And Poynette here looking like they're looking to peel the guard. They want to get that guard out of the way. And they did indeed move that rock, hit it almost head on, and move there slightly over to the side. That's a pretty good shot. It's sometimes nice to have that rock stick around. They can draw behind that later. Portage here looking to put up another guard. Looks a bit light. Having trouble getting over the line. And indeed did not make it over that line, that hog line. And if it doesn't make it over that line, the rock's removed from play. So Poynette came down, tried to remove both those rocks. They got one of them. Portage ended up a little heavy on that play. Ended up hitting their own, bumping a little bit, and ending up in the back. That leaves Poynette shot right now. And with the two Portage rocks in the back, that's somewhat to Poynette's advantage. They can put some more in the house, and they'll be hard to remove because they'll jam on the ones in the back. So Poynette with the draw here. Not sure if he was trying to actually tap that back one, but it was a little heavy, didn't curl enough, and wound around them both. So Portage to look to remove this this red counter. Possibly roll a little bit to the left. Looking fairly good here. And indeed, got a little bit, probably a little more roll than they were expecting. But it leaves Portage setting 3. Now Poynette's going to need to try to remove some rocks here. If they can, they'll try to roll to the right and under that red guard that you see near the bottom of the screen. And indeed did get that removed. Get one of them removed here. So Portage is still sitting 2. Poynette's in third position. So it looks like Portage is looking to try to guard that one in the back. And sweepers on it near the end. That's usually a good sign. Uh, looks to move that red one a little farther back. The Poynette rock. So Poynette does have a possibility for a double here. If they make the double, getting the yellow one just left of the button, left of the 4-foot circle. If they hit that one over and be able to double the other one off, probably they're going to lose their red rock off to the left side. And that would kind of maybe set up more of a blank end situation if Portage tries to elect to remove the red rock that's left. So this is Poynette skip, Matthew Lanois, with his first shot. I think it looks like Matthew is going to try to score here. So looks like he may be trying to draw right around that red guard of his into the 4-foot and kind of ignoring the 2 Portage rocks. And it looks like he actually went right through the house. So that will leave Portage skip Ethan McCumber. Try to plug this up a little bit more. Guard that back one or draw one into the house here. And that was a good shot, right at kind of the top of the 12-foot circle, leaving Poynette to draw against 3, or they could do a hit and roll. The broom looks like he's going for the hit and roll. And one of the advantages of this shot is if you don't roll into shot, at least you get rid of one of the yellow stones, so you leave only a steal of 2. Keep yourself in the game. This is Matthew Lanois with last shot of the end. It's coming down nicely here. And he did indeed roll off. Just enough that it looks like Portage scored 2. So that brings our score to 3-1. Sorry, 3-0. And Portage is looking to put something in the center there, and they actually ended up being out to the side. And that shot works to Poynette's advantage, because now it's a guard off to the side, a corner guard and curling, and he can draw behind that. Try to set up a decent end. And it was quite light. Didn't make it past the hog line. Now Portage looking to draw behind that same guard. No. No. Looks like another center guard here. Portage staying on offense. Center guard or in the house works in this situation. I think he's going to end up maybe drawing behind the corner guard here. Did get indeed behind the corner guard, but not quite deep enough. Poynette can still draw behind both of those yellows and get well buried. And it looks indeed what Matthew Lanois is calling here. That's coming down kind of nice. Sweeping it right at the end, that's usually a good sign. Did not get quite behind the yellow, but somewhat buried. Exposed enough Portage can get at it. It looks like they're going to try to draw around that yellow and that red here too also. One of the risks here is if a shot is a little narrow, it'll actually push that red one in. And that one came up short. Poynette has a lot of work with here now. They're sitting one, and they have a couple different things they can try to draw around. Get buried behind cover. And looks like Matthew is calling indeed that, calling for an out-turn draw behind that yellow guard on the left. And Portage looking to put up a guard on that yellow one they have on the almost on the button, but came up short. That'll give Poynette a chance to hit that rock and roll to the side. Coming in a little tight here. Came in a little narrow and took both Poynette rocks out of play, both the shooter. Leaving Portage sitting two. Now Portage will try to guard up again. See if they can work their way towards the steal here. Shot looks a little wide. And still leaving the Portage rock and the 4-foot completely exposed for Poynette to hit and roll, and they can roll to the left or the right and get under cover. Yeah, so it looks to be a little narrow. And went right by the Portage rock. Portage can try to guard that up again now. That looks to be over curling. Just a hair. And that's a pretty big path for Poynette to get through and once again try to take a chance at hitting that Portage rock and rolling to one side or the other. Oh, this is coming down much better here. A little bit of roll to the right. That's a good shot. A little bit, well, rolled a little more to the right than probably would have liked because Portage can now get at that. That's indeed what Matthew Lanois is going to try to do here. Oh, I'm sorry, Ethan McCumber. Ethan McCumber is going to try to go ahead and remove that red rock. And he did get the shot. Leaving Portage sitting two. Poynette discussing what to do here. And they're going to try that same shot. See if they can hit the Portage rock and score their one for the end. Poynette wants to score this end, down three after two ends, playing the third end here. Sweepers are off. This looks like a pretty good shot. And indeed, he made the shot. So, Ethan McCumber with his last rock. Try to do that same thing again. Hit the yellow rock, maybe roll a little bit under cover. Remove the red rock, that was the important thing, but he did roll out. So with that, just the only thing left in play here is Portage rock, somewhat of a biter right on the edge of the circles. So the strategy here is go ahead and remove the red, go with the yellow rock, Portage rock, have your Poynette rock bounce out, leave nothing in the house, and that will be a blank end, no score, but Poynette retains the hammer, the last rock advantage for the next end. So rather than trying to score one here this early in the game, it's better to just go ahead and try to peel that yellow rock off and lose your red rock and not have any score at all. That might be different if it was later in the game, but at this point, that would be the best strategy. So he hit the shot at the right angle, not quite enough weight, so he rolled in and scored one. And that works. That'll bring the score to Portage 3, Poynette 1. And with that's after 3 ends. And with that, we'll be starting the 4th end of an 8-end game. So Portage will still be throwing first as Poynette retains the last rock advantage, throwing the last rock of the end, the hammer. This is Jack Hibner throwing lead rocks for Portage. Think him to come down in the center. In the house works. Looks like he was just a little heavy, went right through. Poynette with the hammer looking to play to the side. Looks like they went into the house. That works. Usually at this point you like to have it above the house, which makes it a free guard, meaning it can't be removed by Portage. So Portage, being ahead, just try to remove that yellow rock and stick around. Yeah, that's a good shot. Rolls to the center. Portage without the hammer tends to want to be playing more in the center. So Poynette looking to remove that rock also. This kind of turns the end into kind of an end of takeouts. Open house, rather conservative strategy. Hard to score multiples if you keep removing rocks. So Portage will just draw another one in the house and kind of setting up an end of takeouts. Portage is short, then Poynette can take advantage of that and kind of try to draw around it. There's Poynette's rock. I'll draw another one into the house here. And you can see that red one in the back there. A little hard to see. Red rings, red rocks, sometimes a little hard to see. And Portage just looking to remove that rock. And Portage missed, went right around, a little bit wide. So now Poynette, they play the end out. They can get at least two, unless Portage gets some kind of a double. Looks like they're going to continue playing the center. And kind of leaked a little deep back, and now they have two red rocks right in the back of the house. And Portage try to remove both of those if they can. This is not an easy double. Uh, have to hit it just right. Only one spot where you get both of them. If they hit enough weight, if they throw enough weight, and Portage did remove one of the two red ones, one of the 2-point rocks. So Poynette's going to try that same shot again, still playing the center. So by playing the center, you can kind of guard up the one in the back, although you still kind of leave yourself open to the double. If you put a rock to the side, it's harder to make the double. Portage then just kind of has to elect if they want to take a rock out, which one do they want to take out. But here the double is there. Almost straight back to get the double. Sweeping it hard, looks a little inside. Didn't get the double, but they stick around. Now, by playing the center like that, this is another issue that can happen is by Poynette playing the center, they can take this rock out, but there's a possibility of jamming on their back one. So they're going to try to remove this. Go ahead and remove the Portage yellow rock. Roll a little bit to either side without jamming on the rear one. And they did indeed get the jam on the rear one. Poynette still shot after that, although this kind of takes the deuce, the 2 out of play, if Portage can remove this rock. This is Adam Hine, the vice for Portage. Now he wants to remove the red one without jamming on the back, kind of the same thing we had on the previous shot. Angle looks pretty good here. And indeed, he did get that shot. So Portage now sitting 2. Poynette can try for the double here. Skip Matthew Lanois with his first shot of his Skips Rocks. Yep, got rid of it and rolled to the side. And Portage can look to just remove that and make Poynette throw or draw against 2. Sweepers on it here. Looks like they can hit. We'll see if they stick around. And indeed, he does. Looks like. Stuck around right at the back. Hard to get a blank end here. But Poynette, being without the hammer, we'll try to remove both of those. And Portage with the hammer. Matthew Lanois from Poynette with his last shot here. Gonna try to make the double. Remove all the Portage rocks. And just got one. And Portage remove that rock, hit and stick, and they'll score 2 on this end if they can. So it's Ethan McCumber with his final shot of the end. Looking pretty good here for a hit and stick. And indeed he does hit and stick and scores 2. So that'll bring our score 5-1 Portage after 4 ends. So our score is 5-1. Portage throwing the yellow rocks after 4 ends, playing the 5th end. So it's Jack Kipner throwing lead rocks for Portage with his first shot. Looking to throw something in the center, ended up being a little on the side. And Poynette will immediately try to draw around that. Try to get a rock buried behind there. This is Jacob Trudeau throwing lead rocks for Poynette. Looking to draw around, see if they can drag that into the house. A little bit short. Still a rock that's to advantage for Poynette. They need, at this point with being down by 4, they want guards, particularly guards to the sides that they can draw around. So putting up another guard, Portage can't remove that. So Portage is going to look to go ahead and just draw right around that. And they're going to try to be the first one in. And that looks to be a bit heavy. Went through the house. Poynette going to play the same shot. We've had good curl here in Portage since the beginning of the season. You can see where the skips are setting their brooms here for draws and where it's being thrown. We're looking at over 4 feet of curl. See it curling nicely there. Needs to bend a little bit more to get around that guard. Not quite buried, just behind the tee line. And Portage can look to maybe tap that out of there. Portage could get a roll. A little bit of a roll, but they'd probably still be behind the tee line, which is really not to Portage's advantage, because Poynette can come and sit on top of that then. And Portage was light, and that actually gives Poynette another guard to work with. They're going to look at drawing around that same way, playing that same shot. Skip Matthew Noyes setting up for about 4.5 feet of curl. And if he can get this buried, Poynette will be in pretty good shape. Tough. He just got to miss his red guard on the top there. One looks out to be a bit wide. Ran into that Portage rock there. And Portage rock's not in the rings. Now it looks like Portage is going to try to go right through there and go ahead and try to remove that Poynette shot rock. Yep, and that ended up on the guard also. So now Poynette looking to draw another one in. Same shot they did last time. Took a little less broom this time. A little bit of a straight spot there on the ice. They're sweeping hard. See if you can get this buried. Oh, this is looking pretty good. That was a great shot. That leaves Poynette sitting 2. And hard to get both of those. Well, Portage is going to have to try to remove the guard here. So they can get at those ones in the back. Can also run it back. And they did run it back. And by doing that, they got rid of one of the red ones. One of the Poynette rocks. The disadvantage there is in order to make this run back shot, you end up leaving your yellow one right on the top. So you've essentially left a guard as opposed to just peeling the red guard off and then seeing if Poynette will miss their next shot with the guard. It's hard to put up perfect guards on ice with a lot of curl sometimes. So sometimes a peel is better than the run back. Well, Skip Matthew Lanois of Poynette, he realizes he needs points. Perhaps you try to guard up that red there, because Portage can get at it. But instead, he's going to go ahead, try to draw another one behind the yellow, and see if he can get in there and be sitting 2 again. And sure enough, that looks like what he's doing here. That's a great shot. That's a really great shot. And Portage can look to come through and clip that red one out of there. It'd be hard for him to stick around though. With the way it looks here, you look at the angle. It'll be hard in order to get through those 2 yellow ones, get the red one in the back. They got to throw a lot of weight, and with a lot of weight, you're not going to curl enough really probably to stick around. Kind of hit his own, bounce back, hit the Poynette rock. Still left Poynette sitting 2. So it looks like in the last shot, maybe he's trying to run his yellow one back or try to tap it back. That's a difficult shot. Kind of rearranged the Poynette stones a little bit, and Poynette still has one completely buried. The other one's out in the open. They're going to have to do something to stop Portage from getting after that with their next shot. We're down to Skip's rocks here. So Matthew Lanois' first shot. He was maybe trying to guard it up there. He got a nice bounce. Shot was a little narrow, but he got a nice bounce, making it a kind of a bit of a finesse shot for Ethan McCumber here to come around, maybe sit on that red one in the back or tap it back a little bit and be sitting shot. Can't play the straight draw here. There just isn't enough room to get through to play a little bit weight, more like a back line or perhaps a hack weight shot if you want to get at that back one. Looks like they're having some more discussion about this. So there's Ethan McCumber with his last rock for Portage. Coming down nicely here. Oh, he just ticked the guard. And with that, pushed the Poynette Red Rock, one of them in, but not out counting that Portage, single ported yellow walk in the ring. So Poynette's sitting 2. Last shot. They can try to get another one in here for 3. They got to figure out the best way to get in there. The best way to get in there without accidentally bumping up a Portage rock. So that looks like an intern draw. Matthew Lanois calling on his last shot. Vice Brody Weichman holding the broom. And he wants to just draw down through that gap between the 2 yellows and maybe tap his red one there just a little bit for 2. Tap that. If he taps that one and hits it just right, he'll score 3. Sweeping hard. And it looks like he was a little bit light. So it looks like I was a rock off here. There was 1 rock left for both skips. And I think Ethan looking to tap a yellow back here. Oh, he got a nice tap there. In fact, it's even shot rock. That was a great shot. Kind of an end-saving shot. Poynette was looking to score perhaps 3. Poynette has to remove that yellow rock now. Looks like the only shot is a run back on that red, where he's putting his broom there, is to try to run that one straight back into the Portage yellow, and then if they hit and stick, they could still score 3. This is a very precise shot. You have to hit it right dead center on the right spot, because you don't want to jam the yellow into the red either after you've done your run back. So this is Matthew Lanois' last shot of the end. He's pretty close here. He's pretty close. Oh, that's a good shot. And that indeed will be a score of 3. 2 good shots in a row by both skips. 2 great shots. But ending up with a score of 3 for Poynette. And that'll bring our score to 5-4. Five to 4 after 5 ends. 3 ends remaining to play. And we have a close game. Poynette's going to need to steal some points here. And this is Jacob Trudell. His first shot, they'd like that to be in the center, not in the rings. And that looks very, very well placed. Very well placed, almost, I would say just about perfect. That's where you want that rock, first rock to be. Portage looking to play to the side. Either in the house or above the house works. I would say at this point, Poynette would probably ignore a rock that's in the house rather than trying to hit it. And curling, so many things are determined by what happens with just the first few rocks. That really dictates the play for the whole rest of the end. And this is a very, very well placed, very well, almost perfect placed corner guard, meaning a guard off to the side. When you're the team with last rock advantage, the hammer, that's where you want your guards. We're setting up for an end of a lot of offense here. We're going to see some scoring on this end. So right away, looks like Skip Matthew Lanois is going to call for his lead, Jacob Trudell, to go ahead and draw into the house. See if you can get that rock buried right away. This is looking pretty good. Ended up being a little too heavy. went to the back of the house. And Portage out trying to race, see if they can get to that same spot, playing the center. And this is gonna go a little deep too. And went right out the back of the house. So with that, look for Poynette to draw another one in behind their guard. This one looks a bit heavy also. And indeed went out the back of the house, just like the Portage rock, almost the same exact thing twice in a row. Portage rock, then a Poynette rock. Now there's no more free guards, meaning at this point, guards can be removed. But Ethan McCumber is electing to stick with offense here. Go ahead and draw behind that center guard. Coming in nicely here. Good weight, slightly exposed. Something that, with this broom, it looks like sort of a hack weight shot that Poynette can go ahead and try to tap that one out. Don't want to jam it on the one in the back. Fifth end, score is 5-4. Portage 5, Poynette 4. Poynette looking to tap that yellow Portage rock. And looks like they got a pretty good shot going here. They can get it there. I think they wanted to tap the rock. They wanted to need a little more weight, but this is not a bad position. When you ever have rocks like that frozen near the center of the house, Poynette with the red stones can come down and hit their red one, knock that yellow one out, and be sitting two real easy. So I think Ethan's trying to figure out what to do here. And come back and just might unlock those a little bit. But it looks to be a bit light. Guards it in back. Poynette, if they want to unlock those two rocks, they're going to have to do something now to be able to get at those in the back. Run there. Take that, hit that red one that's locked to the yellow one, and knock the other one right out the back or push it back a little bit. And I think he thinks he can get around that red guard up on top. Matthew Lanoy of Skip for Poynette. And I think the shot's there. Trick is, can he get there with enough weight that he can bump the yellow back? Looks like he's quite light. So situation pretty much the same. Portage with the hammer likes to score 2 on this end. This is a hard setup to get 2. You get your second one in, you got to get into full blue. And there aren't a lot of good paths to full blue right now. Looks to me Ethan's trying to go ahead and draw in there and maybe see if he can get that second rock into full blue. That's a hard path to get through. That's a hard path. Ended up kind of locked on the red one now. Interesting situation. Poynette wants to score. They'll have to do something to be able to get at those back ones. But it looks like I think what Matthew Lanoy of Poynette is calling is to draw right around and go ahead and get behind that yellow one, that pile of 3. And sit there for shot. This looks quite narrow. Those are hard paths out there when you have so much curl in the ice. You really have to watch your broom so it doesn't over curl like that. Got a roll. Took away Portage's chance of getting into the 4-foot with that in-turn from that direction they were trying last time. They can still play Portage can still play the last shot that Poynette just did. Try to get around, get in there. Be sitting 2. I think Ethan's calling to remove a guard here. Ended up hitting his yellow, going into the back, jumbling him around a little bit. So I think that was a called shot. It was hard to tell. It's a kind of an interesting setup right now. That's a very lonely Poynette rock in the rings there. And the reason is at some point Portage can take and go ahead and try to run one of those rocks outside of the rings right onto those 2 yellows locked to each other. That's essentially a loaded gun. It's loaded. It would hit that 2 yellows right into the red, push the red one out. Both yellows would still be around, and you'd be sitting 3. You can hit those 2 yellows almost anywhere with enough weight, and that'll happen. So I think Poynette looking to go ahead and draw again, maybe draw down to the Portage yellow. Portage with last rock advantage with the hammer now. And this is Poynette Skip, Matthew Lanois' first rock. And see if he can get around all of those this time. See if he's wide enough. And he looks like he's going to tap his red here. Yeah, I don't think he got what he wanted, but he made it harder for Portage to get that run back shot. Run those, to go ahead and hit those two yellows locked together with something. But it looks like they're looking to do that now. Better if they do it with one of their own rocks, but if they did it with a Poynette rock, that would be fine too. So here's Ethan McCumber with his first shot. It looks to me he's looking to run that, go ahead and run that yellow one right back into his two yellows, hit the red, and then be sitting 3. Looks like you might get it with the red here. Oh, just missed. Just missed. So it wasn't clear to me with that broom. I think with that broom, when he was playing the intern, he was trying to run the Poynette red back into it rather than his own yellow. It's a little better angle to use that rock. Just missed. Now the next shot is more difficult if he wants to play that shot. Strategically, Poynette would be happy at this point to hold Portage to 1. Always good in curling if you do not have last rock advantage, that you hold the other team to 1. And I think he's looking to plug up and stop all those run back possibilities. And it's still there. There's still a rock that Portage can run back. I'd say one of those yellow ones looks like a better possibility for making the shot. One of those two yellow ones, more on the left, almost next to the center line. That rock right there where he has his broom. I think that's the best shot of getting through there. There isn't much risk here. The way the Portage rocks are lined up, it'd be hard to, almost impossible. I can't see a good way you'd lose that back Portage yellow one that's sitting for 1 right now. So Matthew Lanois and Brody Weichman trying to look at the angles here, figure out which is the best shot at getting there. Looks like they're going to try to angle that red one back in there. It looks like a tough angle. And he went right by it. That's a tough angle. Like they're all having a discussion here now, which would have been the best one to throw it at. How they would have made that shot. There are a couple different ways to do it. I preferred the yellow near the center line. That looked like a better chance of making the shot to me. So that'll be a score of 1 for Portage. And it'll bring our Portage score 6-4 after 6 ends. Two ends to go. Poynette with a hammer. Usually a game, if you're up by 2, going into the 7th without hammer, you like to keep your opponent to score 1 or less so that you have the hammer in the final end. Poynette lead, Jacob Trudell. They're looking for a center guard here over the hog line, just on the center line. That's a good first guard. Right on the center line. Porter's looking to immediately draw underneath. Take control of the center of the ice. This shot with leads first rock of the team with last rock advantage. Boy, if you get it right in there, it's great. If you're a little light, it's another guard. If you're a little heavy behind the tee, then it's something the other team can draw down to. So here he's just behind the tee line. So Poynette can now draw one in and be on top of that, and then it makes it harder for Portage to remove it later. And looks like a pretty good draw, little heavy. Knocked the Portage one out. Now they're behind the tee line. Now Poynette is behind the tee line. We're still in the first 5 rocks, so we have a free guard zone. So Portage cannot remove that top rock from the field of play, but they can remove the one in the rings. And looks like that's actually what they did. I would say rolling out at that point is actually kind of good. For up 2, you don't want a lot of rocks in play if you're Portage. Poynette, you want guards and rocks in play so you have a chance to score. So I think we're up to Dylan Trudell, the second for Poynette. And try to draw one into the house. If it ends up being a guard, it's okay too. It's a good A-B kind of shot here. So I Poynette looking to draw down into the back, and we're a bit short, but Portage has a rock behind the tee line. There's two guards up front to Poynette's advantage. So at this point, Portage can either remove guards, which would expose theirs in the back, or go ahead and try to draw some more into the house. They're going to go ahead and draw some more into the house. This is coming down nicely. And if the sweepers can drag it in, but it's a bit short. You really want that one to be all the way down to the 4-foot. As now this gives Poynette a chance to basically play the same shot and get buried behind a couple of guards. And it looks to be a little narrow and a little light. And tap that Portage one a little bit. Tap it in. So you have Portage sitting one in the back. Pointing at the number 2 rock. And Portage really wants to draw one in at this point without hammer and get it well buried. That's good weight. That's a good shot. Quite hard to get to by Poynette. So Poynette's going to try to clear the guard now. They've got to be able to get at that Portage rock. Didn't clear the guard. Still pretty well junked up. Portage to try to put up another guard. Portage can steal here, that'd be great. And they'd be up 3. Coming home, last end without hammer, but up 3's a big advantage, so. Like to get that not too heavy. Well, since it did go heavy, they'll just try to sweep it in to be another counter now. That wasn't really the intent. Now what you've got is you've got a situation where Poynette can actually get at the back ones, although the double does not appear to be there the way they're lined up. Matthew Lanois thinking about what to do here. What's he going to do? He can throw a shot. He can try to come through that port. He could actually get both of them if he does that. That might be at this point. Yeah, he just wants to peel the guard. Got to get rid of that guard. Hope Portage misses on the next one so they can get at those back ones. Definitely needs to score at least one this end. They need to take some chances here and kind of ran it straight back. And that left Portage sitting 3. And with the guard, by not making that peel, you essentially left another guard up there. It's your own color, but it's still a guard for Portage. Portage now sitting 3, looking to plug this up even more. All right, down to Skip's rocks here. Portage without the handler. Ethan McCumbra looking to throw a guard. Skips love to throw guards. If a skip is throwing a guard, that means the situation is very good for his team. So a skip loves to throw guards. Oh, this is a good position. That's a good place. That does not leave Poynette a good path. They still have a shot. They go between between those 2 red ones, just beyond the hog line. They can still get at some of those back ones, but they just won't get rid of them all. So, looks like what Matthew Lanois is going to try to do is try to play the in-turn draw right around the red one on the top, and go ahead and sit for shot. And the path is there. That shot is there. Broom looks a little tight, but the skips have a better view of that than I do. So Matthew has 2 shots left. This is his first shot as a skip of Poynette. And indeed, it's quite tight. That broom looked very tight to me. I think he needed about at least 8 inches more in order to not crash like that. Portage ice has been a lot of curl this year. Started out the season about 5.5 feet. We're settling in now about 4.5 feet, sometimes just a hair more than that. And he didn't have the room for that kind of curl. So this is Ethan McCumbra throwing his last shot for Portage in the 7th end. Portage up by 2. And he just wants to take that shot away that Matthew Lanois of Poynette was just trying. He just wants to plug that up so he can't get in there and do that same thing. Ended up being a little heavy. And the sweepers then kept it going. They didn't want it to stop where Matthew could hit and roll off it into the center. So they just wanted it to keep going. So that same shot is still there. That same draw. And this is really a all or nothing shot right now. He needs to make this shot in order to stay in the game. took some more broom this time. He's got about 6 inches more. This is where a skip earns his money, being able to draw the 4-foot. And shots off. Sweepers are not on it. Makes you concerned it's maybe a bit heavy. And indeed went to the back. So that'll be a score of 3 for Portage. And with that, the teams are shaking hands. And that'll bring a conclusion to our game today. And the final score will be Portage 9, Poynette 4. So the game ends after 7 ends with a score of 9-4. And that'll bring a conclusion to our broadcast for today. Thank you for tuning in or watching the rebroadcast on YouTube on this fine, cold November morning. I'm Steve Duberstein, your announcer for this Portage High School curling game. And we'll usually be streaming a game every Tuesday for most of the high school curling season from here at the Portage Club. It'll be alternating usually between girls' games and boys' games as they travel to other clubs in the division. And with that, good evening.